So welcome to my chemistry videos as we look at some sample questions on the Haber process, that is industrial preparation of ammonia. So the question there says that nitrogen is used to manufacture ammonia as shown in the diagram. So if you study the diagram there, they have given you nitrogen, there's X. You can see that when these two are reacted, they produce ammonia, but there are certain conditions that they have given you there. So the question there says that name the process shown above. So the process that is shown there above is what we call as being the Haber process. So that is what you needed to answer there. Then B says state the substance represented by letter X. If that is nitrogen, then definitely this is supposed to be hydrogen gas. So that is supposed to be hydrogen. So that is hydrogen. Then the C part there says that write the conditions represented by Y and Z needed for the process. So what are the conditions? Remember the condition represented by Y, it says Y in degrees Celsius. So that is representing the temperature. So that is representing the temperature. But of course, when we talk about the temperature, you need to give the approximate temperature, because it says Y degrees. So the temperature there is a 450 degrees Celsius. So that is the condition represented. So it is the temperature, but they wanted the value. What is the value? 450 degrees. So you cannot write temperature there when they have told you Y degrees Celsius. They wanted the exact value of the temperature. Then in terms of Z, if you notice, it says Z ATM. ATM is a unit for pressure. So Z is representing pressure, but what is the pressure? So you can say 200 ATM. Others are going to be saying a 250 ATM. But like I said, at this temperature of 450 degrees Celsius, 200 ATM is the best pressure to yield more of the ammonia that is going to be produced. All right. We can move on to the D part. So D1 there says name the catalyst used. So what is the catalyst that is used in the Haber process? So D1, we know the catalyst that is used is iron. So that is the iron, or if you want, you can simply say finely powdered ions. But of course, iron is the catalyst that is used. Then D2 says that write the main ore. So they are talking about the main ore from which the catalyst named in D1 is extracted. In other words, what is the name of the ore from which iron is extracted? So iron, like we said, is extracted from hematite. So that is what you need to remember. So hematite is a form of iron 3 oxide. So that is the hematite from which it is extracted. Then the E part there, the E part of the question there says that construct a balanced chemical equation for the reaction shown in the diagram. Then they want us to include the state symbols. Remember what we said, nitrogen is going to react with hydrogen. This is a reversible reaction, so you need to show that it is a reversible reaction to produce ammonia. In this case, the ammonia is NH3. To balance up the equation, there are 2 nitrogens, so you can put up a 2 there. But remember, when you put up a 2, hydrogen becomes affected. So that is going to be a 3 there. And what are the state symbols? They are all in gaseous form. That is what you need to remember. Now, under any reaction in which all the reactants and the product are in gaseous form, pressure does really affect them. Then if you consider part F there, part F says that state 1 use of ammonia. So they wanted you to state 1 use of ammonia. That is part F. So remember, we did say in my previous video that it is used for manufacturing. So you can say it is actually used for manufacturing glues and also plastics. So you can use it for manufacturing glues and plastics. Then 2, it is used for making or manufacturing explosives. So you can also use it to make explosives. And we can say it is used as a drying, so as a cleaning agent, sorry. So it is also used as a cleaning agent. So those are things that you need to remember. You can also use ammonia for manufacturing nitric acid. So those are some of the things that you need to remember. The last part, it was not part of this question, but I wanted you to get an idea because it has been coming in several exams. That is, it says describe the chemical test for ammonia. So how can you test for ammonia? Well, ammonia, like I said, is the only alkaline, gas that we have in nature. So the test is that when you use, a red litmus paper, that red litmus paper will change to blue. So we can say it turns a red litmus, so it turns a red litmus paper to blue. So remember, like I said, NH3 is the only alkaline, so it is simply the only alkaline gas in nature that we have. So that is what you need to remember. So it changes a red litmus paper to blue. That is the chemical test that we carry out for ammonia. All right, so let me consider another question so that I can just help you see another question that came in an exam and how you can go about it. So this is the question that appeared in the 2024 paper 2 ECZ, and if you notice, the question there says that ammonia is manufactured industrially in the Haber process. And it says state the chemical formula for ammonia. So remember, if we look at the solution, the chemical formula for ammonia is simply NH3. Remember, they are always in the ratio 1:3. 1 nitrogen to 3 hydrogen atoms. So that is the chemical formula for ammonia. Then B says that, is ammonia an element, compound, or mixture? Of course, we know that ammonia is simply a compound. Why is it a compound? So the question there says, give a reason for your answer. We can say it is because the atoms are chemically, so the atoms are chemically bonded, so they are chemically bonded together. So that is the reason why we are saying that that is a compound. The C part there says write a balanced chemical equation that takes place during the Haber process. We have been writing this one. Nitrogen, remember, reacting with hydrogen, it's a reversible reaction to produce NH3, ammonia. Balancing it up, you can put a 2 there because there are 2 nitrogens, so 2 nitrogen. When you put a 2 in front, you affect the hydrogen, so 2 times 3, that gives you a 6. So what number should we put in front? So it's supposed to be a 3. Remember, they are all in gaseous form, so remember to include the state symbols. Then the D part there says that state any 2 conditions necessary to maximize the yield of ammonia during the Haber process. So what conditions are needed to maximize? So 1, you need a catalyst. Yeah, so you need a catalyst, so you can use a catalyst. That catalyst is iron. If you want, you could have talked about you need a temperature. So what's the temperature? You need a temperature of 450 degrees Celsius. And if you wanted, you would have talked about you need, pressure. But what is the pressure? In this case, 200 atm. So that is what we mean. So remember, the question was saying any 2 conditions, so you could have taken any 2 conditions in this question. Well, thank you so much for watching my videos. Please, you can like and subscribe so that we may continue to produce more videos. I'm going to teach you next on fertilizers and look at why they're important and what are their effects, especially their disadvantage, so to say. Thank you so much.